Having a disability is one of the most challenging and biggest life altering things that you could ever go through. And because of that, sometimes it becomes almost impossible to maintain a positive outlook on life. However, it's not impossible. In this video, I'll be sharing with you some of the ways in which I managed to stay positive with a disability. One of the most effective and most important things that I do to stay positive is that I never allow self-pity to control my life. I'm not trying to say that I've never been in that space before where I allow my self-pity to just overwhelm me. I have been there before, and I've since learned that it is very harmful to my sense of peace. Having a disability, let's face it, is one of the most challenging, life altering events that could ever happen to an individual. Are you allowed to feel disappointed? Yes. Are you allowed to be hurt? Yes. Are you allowed to be angry? Even? Yes, you are. But you cannot stay in that state forever, because the longer you allow yourself to be in that kind of mind space, the deeper you are sinking into depression. Instead of focusing on the negative things, try and train your mind to just focus on the positives. It was a lesson that I had to learn the hard way, that I only had two choices at the end of the day. Either I wallow in self-pity and make myself even more depressed, or I choose to look at the other side, on the brighter side of life rather, and just keep on going and build from there. I know it's not easy, but I strongly recommend it. Not just for people who are trying to cope with disabilities, but even in life in general. It's a very important thing to learn. Don't feel down for too long. Yes, it's okay to feel down, but don't just stay in that mind space for a very long time. One other thing that also helps me to stay positive with a disability is being part of support groups. When I became part of support groups, I discovered that sometimes all you need to just uplift yourself and uplift your spirit is just a few laughs with people who are going through a similar situation, through similar challenges. Just to have a good laugh, we laugh together, we talk, we share ideas, we give each other tips. This is the safest way to transfer yourself to the toilet seat and stuff like that. I know it doesn't sound important to a lot of people, but when you have that kind of a support group of people going through similar things, it really does help a lot. My next tip for staying positive with a disability is going outside a little bit more. I know this sounds funny, but trust me, you just leaving the house to go outside, breathe in fresh air, see people, let the sunlight hit your skin. It's an incredible feeling, and it can do wonders in terms of uplifting your spirit. There is a time when I stayed cooled in the house for too long. I wasn't going outside. I wasn't feeling well, so I thought going outside wasn't a good idea. So I stayed indoors for a very long time. And I discovered that the more I stayed inside the walls of our house, not going outside, not seeing people, not breathing fresh air, the more depressed I was becoming and the less positive I was getting overall. And someone suggested to me that why don't you go outside, breathe a little bit. I did that, and I tell you, when I got back into the house, I was feeling 5 times better already. So something as simple as just going outside your house could really help a lot in terms of staying positive. If you are holed up inside the house, you really feel like the world is caving in around you. But the more you just go outside and breathe fresh air, the more you realize that life is still beautiful, regardless of the struggles you could be facing at that particular time. I am sure every single one of you watching this video is familiar with the statement that says, comparison is the thief of joy. and it's true, especially when you have a disability. When I was younger, I didn't understand that sometimes when you have a disability, you are on a different timeline to your peers and to your friends. For instance, my friends were already going to school and I couldn't go to school with them because I still had other things that I had to learn. For example, I didn't even know how to hold a pen, and they were still training me to hold a pencil, to hold a pen, to sit properly by myself. Even as an adult, after university, I realized that my friends had an easier time getting a job, getting into stable relationships, and a lot of them are at a point where they are getting married right now. The fact that things may be happening a little bit slower for me, it doesn't mean that they are not going to happen. So when I stopped comparing myself to others, I found myself being able to be a little bit more positive than normal. My next tip for staying positive is don't be too hard on yourself. Yes, don't be too hard on yourself. Understand that you can't be everything to everyone or even to yourself at all times. Be patient with yourself. Things are a little bit different where a disability is involved, especially when that disability is acquired. Maybe when it's not something you were actually born with, but a disability that you got along the way, maybe through an accident or an illness or a condition, whatever the case may be. You just need not to be too hard on yourself. Be patient with yourself as well. I know that for most of us, we struggle, especially trying to make ends meet, trying to be healthier, trying to learn to be independent. These things take time, they take patience, they take a lot of cultivating and nurturing, and they are not going to just happen overnight. Even I know some people who bash themselves because they are not as positive as they would like to be. Listen, don't put yourself under too much pressure. And this is something that I apply in my own life. I need to be kind to myself. I need to be patient with myself. I'm not saying be lazy or don't learn things or don't set goals. But even when you set goals, make sure your goals are realistic. Because when your expectations are too high, and if you fail to accomplish that thing which you would have set out to accomplish, you can tend to go hard on yourself and judge yourself too harshly, and just not appreciate all the effort that you are putting in. The other thing that I surround myself with a solid support structure. This is very, very important. You know what they say about how you end up being the average of the five people that you spend most of your time with. For me, this is something that really helps me a lot. I have great friends. I deliberately and intentionally seek out friendships with positive minded people, people who can boost my confidence. And by this, I don't mean people who are going to lie to me, or people who are dishonest with me, or people who don't tell me the truth because they think I'm fragile. No, I am talking about real friends who will tell you the truth, that you are messing up here and you need to improve in this area of your life. You are being lazy here, you should work on this. Those are the kind of friends that I'm talking about, the kind of support structure that everybody needs. Loyal people. But according to me, loyalty doesn't mean that when you see someone who is messing up, you don't tell them. Loyalty means you love them enough to tell them the truth. That's the kind of support system that you need. People who will help you to pick up the pieces and continue with life. People who inspire you to be the best version of yourself. People who will not allow you to sit on your own potential and not reach or attain your goals. People who will push you to go beyond your comfort zone and do amazing things and do something with your life. That's the kind of support system that you need. And it helps you to stay positive in the sense that they always remind you of what you can do. And those moments when self doubt hits you, they are there to remind you that, look, dude, you can do this. If you apply yourself or work hard or smart enough, it's attainable. So find yourself a good support system is one of the most effective ways of staying positive that I know. You should try it as well. Okay, with regards to the next tip that I'm about to share, I must confess that this is something I'm still learning to do myself. I was in that space a few months ago when I really wasn't taking care of myself, of my mental, my physical, my emotional, my spiritual health. And I found myself sinking into depression. And that's when I learned that one of the ways in which you can stay positive and motivated to do life is to take care of yourself as a whole being. Take care of your mental health, take care of your emotional health, your spiritual health, your physical health, even. Do all the little things that are going to improve your health. Drink enough water, exercise, sleep well, eat healthy. That's important and it cannot be overemphasized. When you adopt those small little changes, trust me, you will see your positivity rising higher and higher. When it comes to your emotional health or your mental health, watch what you are feeding your mind with. Um, concentrate on positive stuff, stuff that builds you, stuff that encourages you, stuff that challenges you and motivates you to do better. And take care of your mental health. Stay away from toxic situations, toxic people, toxic environments, and you yourself don't be toxic to other people or toxic to yourself as well. All these things, they will help you to stay positive. Spirituality is also something that is very important to me as a believer. Staying grounded in the Word and in Christ, it also helps me. I don't know in your case what your belief system is like, but you also need to take care of your inner being. I think that is very important. One other way that helps me to stay positive is to make the most of what I have, make the most of what I can do, make the most of the situation. Every day is a blessing. I look at it with a positive attitude. Even when I'm not feeling well, I just remind myself that each day is a blessing and that I will never have another day like that again. So I always try to make the most of it. I just have that understanding that life is a gift. You know, I always say that at the end of all my videos. Your life is a gift. Make the most of it. And I really try to live by those words, just to make the most of every situation and to enjoy life as it was. And it really helps me a lot. Maybe one more thing that I can also suggest to help stay positive that I do personally is accept yourself. Acceptance. Acceptance really goes a long way in terms of putting your mind in that good space where you need to be. Love yourself and even understanding that it doesn't mean your life is over just because you now have a disability. Thank you for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, please do share it with your friends and with your family on your social media. I would really appreciate that. You know this by now. Remember, your life is a gift. Make it count. See you on the next video.